is up, you guys, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are already part of my family, thank you so much for being here once again. For those of you who are new, welcome. My name is Kiara Selena. I'm a practical nurse, and on my channel I mainly talk about nursing education, tips to pass nursing school. Literally everything that you need to successfully execute your nursing journey is right here on Nursing with Key. We also do a bit of beauty and hair, so if you're into any of those things, make sure you join the family by banging on that subscribe button and turning on your notification bell to be notified whenever I post future content. So in today's video, I kind of just wanted to talk about my experience working with COVID patients. I wanted to talk about hazard pay, my experience, and just some things that you really need to ask your interviewer and some things that you need to watch out for if you are considering working with those types of patients or working in those kinds of environments. For those of you who don't know, I was doing office nursing. So for any of you who are interested in becoming an office nurse or in office nursing, I will leave the link to that video down below so that you guys can see what a regular day in my life was like as an LPN working in office. But I was working there and I was making my regular $24 an hour, which is basically standard around my area for an LPN. So I was making that money and I was fine and I was safe because I had limited contact with patients. We had 0 cases in our building, and then I have an auntie who is a nurse. She is a coordinator, and she is friends with some nurses who work with agencies and who find other nurses for facilities that need nurses. So she reached out to me and she told me that she had a good friend who is a nurse and works for an agency, and they are looking for an LPN to work in a certain facility, and that they were going to pay me hazard pay and all of that, which we are going to discuss a little later. If you guys want to know how much I was getting paid, stay till the end of the video. But yeah, she told me I was going to be getting paid really well, like almost double what I regularly get paid. And she told me to go to the interview, and I was a little bit skeptical about the idea of working with COVID patients, to be completely honest. And so I came on here and I asked you guys what you guys thought, right? Because I see my YouTube channel as a big family. I always tell you guys that you guys are easily able to reach out to me on Instagram if you guys want to talk about anything. I am here, and like I said, this is a family, so sometimes I want to ask you guys for advice, and I went on my community section and asked you guys, kind of explained the situation and asked you guys what you guys thought, about me going and working with COVID patients. And a lot of people told me, no girl, stay safe. It's better for you to stay where you at, and all of that. And I mean, I understand what people were trying to say. However, I just felt kind of useless sitting in the office. I liked what I was doing. I had a really chill job. I had no problems where I was at, but I was getting bored. I was losing my nursing skills. I really wanted to get back out there, and I wanted to help in a time of need. I've always been a selfless person. I've always been the type of person to do the kind of work that other people are scared to do, hence why I became a nurse, hence why I'm in the military. So it didn't really scare me too much. There were just a couple questions that I wanted to make sure I had answered at the interview. Me and Kizel, we went to the interview. Everything went, really well. I asked all the questions that I needed to ask. Especially PPE, that PPE is like the most important thing. I just needed to make sure that they had the proper equipment to protect their staff, and prevent their staff from getting sick. I was not trying to get sick. I live in a house with 4 people, so I just needed to make sure that I had my mask, I had my N95s, I had my surgical mask, my face shields would be there, my gowns would be there, my shoe covers would be there. I needed to make sure that everything was there, and they assured us that they had proper equipment. But another really important thing for me is teamwork, right? I'm a new nurse, still a new nurse. That hasn't even been, it's been almost a year that I've been a nurse. I've worked in long-term care and I've done office nursing, but I have not practiced a lot of the nursing skills that I learned in school. I haven't touched an IV in so long. I haven't touched a peg feeding in a couple months. I haven't changed a catheter or done an in and out in a while. I haven't done a blood draw in a while. So there's a lot of nursing skills that I knew I would have to touch up on, and maybe I would need help for. And one thing I really wanted to make sure as well is that they had a solid team, a team that is welcoming, a team that is willing to help, because I don't have no time for nurses to be eating their young while I'm trying to make it through the day, working with a bunch of COVID people who could potentially get me sick. No, I needed to make sure that I would know what I'm doing, that I would be properly instructed, properly guided, properly equipped. And yeah, those are the really really, really big things. I needed to make sure that I was going to have a good team. I didn't want to get there and have everybody giving me funny eyes and no one wanting to answer my questions, and then, you know, have to deal with the stress of not only working in the middle of an epidemic or a pandemic, but also having to try to figure things out on my own, or, you know, the stress of not exactly knowing what I'm doing because nobody wants to guide me. So that is huge for me. Proper equipment and just a good ass team. So they assured us that, you know, most of the people that are working there have been there for over 10 years, that, you know, their people don't really leave. And they told me that this was a temporary job because the old people were gonna come back. It's just that some people got sick and they had to go home and whatever. So, you know what, they had proper equipment. You know, the director and the head nurse that interviewed us, they were super, super sweet. The vibe was there. I was feeling it, and I was ready. So I said, okay, and I accepted the job. Things start to get a little bit tricky, and this is also another thing that I need you guys to ask the interviewers, because when it was time for me to work, right, I asked them how many cases they had. They told me that they had a total of 20 cases, but only 8 cases were in the facility. The other 12 cases were at the hospital, and they were keeping them at the hospital until they were tested negative twice. Then they would be able to come back. So they had 8 cases in the building, and this is a huge building, like 15 floors. So I figured, okay, 8 spaced out is not so bad. I don't think they had them all in on one unit, because this is the type of residence where they live kind of in their own apartments, so you can't just like move them from their home, right? So they just had them isolated in their own rooms. They just weren't allowed to come out or anything like that. But 8 cases in a huge building, 15 floors, wasn't so bad to me. So I accepted the job. When it was time for me to go to work, child, they sent me to a whole nother branch, a whole different branch. And that is another thing. At your interview, make sure you ask them if this is the type of company that has multiple branches. Make sure you ask them if you are going to be working at the place that you were interviewed at, or are they going to send you to some secret place that nobody told you about. Because I was getting ready to go to work, and then they were like, okay, so this is where you have to go. That is not what I was told. Anyway, I was already up, I was already dressed, so I went there, I got there, and this place was like a quarter of the, not even a quarter, like an eighth of the size of the building that I went to. It was so small. And child, I got in there, nobody even said hi to me. Nobody told me anything. I sat down on the chair for an hour waiting for somebody to come help me, to the point where I had to open the MARs by myself, try to figure things out by myself. I didn't even know where the nursing station was. I didn't know anything. And while I was reading the MARs, there was a nurse there who started yelling at me for reading the MAR. I had to check her.
Do you wanna catch these hands? Bitch, I'll catch you in the streets. I'm with that beef. Bitch, I'll beat your ass.
Greet me until an angel nurse, and of course she's an angel because she's from my country. So big up Deslin, and big up all my Grenadian people out there. Just stay sweet. But anyway, she came and she helped me. She took me, you know, and she guided me throughout the day. Thank God for Deslin, because if she wasn't there that day, girl, I might have just took my gown off and just walked right up out of there. I'm not even lying. I went there, and after my shift there, you know, I was thinking about going back the next day. I really thought about it because I was scheduled to go back the next day, and I just had to send the agency nurse who got me the job a nice little email, and I had to tell her, look, unfortunately, I will not be returning. I will not be returning because of XYZ. The cleaners are not cleaning. No, there's just way more cases than you guys told me there was. There was no teamwork. There was nobody there to greet me. The director, or the owner of the company, this is how desperate they are. The owner of the company hit my phone up. She called me and she told me, hey, this is not usually how we function. It's just because there was no boss there that day. There was no direction, right? There was no captain. There was no leader on the ship. So she tried to convince me to come back, and she tried to ask me if I'd be willing to go back to the initial place I was interviewed at, which I decided I would consider, but I have yet to go over there. Honestly, I'm just thinking about it because they just seem a little too desperate, and the fact that they're so desperate is kind of scaring me away. For the hazard pay, I know that you guys want to know how much I was getting paid. They were paying me $40 an hour, and this is a temporary job, so they were giving me a check. I wasn't even being taxed on this, which I don't really think is a good thing, because I mean, in the long run, you would end up owing money. So I don't know, but it was $40 an hour. They give you your check, $320 at the end of the day, and you keep it moving, which was good money. Obviously, it was amazing money. But guys, make sure, and this is another thing, there was no way I could know whether I liked the place or not if I didn't try it. So I'm happy that I went there, that I experienced it, that I saw what it was, and I was able to kind of leave comfortably. And personally, I don't really feel like I'm missing out on too much, even though I'm making less money where I'm at now. You know, I feel like I'm safer where I'm at now. I feel like I'm comfortable where I'm at. And yeah, the money is not always worth it. If they're paying you well, they have an amazing team, you know, their numbers are going down, they have the proper PPE, and you're willing to, you know, go and work, I don't think that there's any problem working in that type of facility. But those things that I just mentioned are like so crucial. PPE and a team that takes it seriously, right? A team that's willing to help you, and a team that takes the virus seriously. I saw some nurses going in COVID rooms with no gloves on, going in with no face shield on. I don't know how they're doing it. I don't know how they do it. But obviously, if people are not taking the virus seriously, if people think it's a joke and they're doing that, then obviously all the nurses in the building are getting sick, because even though you're doing what you have to do, if that person is not doing what they have to do and they're touching everything, you might accidentally touch something, scratch your eye. You never know. Like, we do things subconsciously. I scratch my eye without knowing it all the time. I might scratch my nose without, you know, even realizing. I'm trying my best. I try my best to keep my mask on so that I don't touch my face, but sometimes you do things subconsciously. And if other nurses are not being careful, if other nurses are not taking it seriously, then obviously they're not only putting themselves and the patients at risk, but they're also putting the staff at risk. And I just had to walk away from that job because it just wasn't. That is my experience. That is how much I was getting paid for hazard pay. I'm not saying that this is exactly the amount that you would make. It obviously depends on the type of nurse that you are, right? The higher your degree, the more you will get paid. It also depends on your area. You know, I've heard of LPNs making $50 an hour. I've heard of RNs making $70 an hour, which is crazy. But there is money to be made out there, but the money doesn't always, you know, mean much. Not that it doesn't mean much, but honestly, if you're not going to be well protected, the money is just not worth it. That's what I'm trying to say. If you're not yet part of the family, please join the family by banging on that subscribe button. Turn on your notification bells. That way you will be notified whenever I post future content. And as usual, if you guys have anything else that you guys want to add or any video suggestions, please leave them down below in the comments. Share this video. I'm sure there's somebody out there who could benefit from this. And I hope to see you guys in my next one. Please, please, please stay safe, guys, and much love. Bye.